It's early morning after a rainy night and in the middle of extreme heat. I'm Laura from Garden Sanity, and I garden in Zone 7, Southern New Jersey. And I wanted to show you what's blooming now. And so I thought, here we are, it's mid-July, we're in the middle of extreme heat, but if I get out here early enough, I can show you what's enjoyable, even if I'm not spending as much time outdoors right now. And let's start with this beautiful butterfly bush, and there's actually two of them here. This is called True Blue Butterfly Bush. And again, I wish, because standing back here, you can smell the scent, and oh my goodness, it is almost intoxicating for how subtle but beautiful it is. My husband is not a fan of strong scents on flowers, but he loves this, so that should tell you how nice it is. Now you do see some yellowing down here, and you might think, well, geez, that must be from the extreme heat. No, that's actually from water. When butterfly bushes get too much water, you'll start to see some yellowing leaves. And that's how you know it might be getting just a little bit too much. And since we had some rain, that's what did it. You see the flowers are a beautiful bluish, almost a periwinkle color, and they have little orange eyes. So many tiny flowers. And pollinators love them. I mean, you'll get bees on here, lots of butterflies, you'll see monarchs, and you'll also get hummingbirds, which is wonderful. And you see some tall stems that still have buds that haven't even developed yet. And then you'll also have some spent flower buds like these guys right here. And these can be deadheaded off. There's a video I'll link to above for you on how to deadhead your butterfly bush if you want to. You don't have to, but it makes it look a little bit neater, especially on some of these taller butterfly bushes. One of the benefits of being out here early is the birds. It's just wonderful. To me, that is such a key part of gardening. People think about pollinators, but birds are also involved in that. Whether they're helping to eat insects, or in case of hummingbirds, they're enjoying the flowers. It's just nice to have birds around. Now this is a nice little vignette here because you have the King's Gold Mop Cypress in the middle. And then you have the Boulevard Cypress, which is the beautiful blue-green. And then the matching blue-green leaves of the butterfly bush with the beautiful flowers as well. I'm always enjoying looking at vignettes, and you should too. You know, sometimes you look at your garden as a whole and you can be frustrated, like, I need to do this. There's a hole here. I need to fill this in. This is dying. You know, it's so easy to look at the problems, but sometimes just get up a little bit more closely and just look at some of the pretty vignettes you have and say, yeah, maybe behind the Gold Mop Cypress, maybe there's a lot of weeds, but you know what? Right now, I'm just going to enjoy this. Boulevard Cypress is getting tall. Everything is so still this morning. There is not an ounce of wind out here. But there are early pollinators. That's always nice to see. Next up is the Firelight Hydrangea. One of my favorites that almost, for a time, surpassed my love of Pinky Winky. Almost. But Pinky Winky's still my favorite. But Firelight is just beautiful. Now it starts blooming a little bit earlier than some of the other Panicle hydrangeas. And as you see here, it has beautiful white flowers. Now what is so beautiful about these white flowers is that at some point later in the season, they're going to start to turn to a vibrant, vibrant rosy pink color that is just going to blow your mind if you're growing it for the first time. But I've had this now for several years, and it still blows my mind every year with how beautiful it is. I hear the mourning doves in the background. I named them Myrtle and Harold. It's the same couple we've had for years. At least I'd like to think so. I love watching them waddle around like a couple that's been together forever. I love it. Next up, of course, is the Limelight hydrangea tree, which during this latest extreme heat, and that's exactly what we had, is extreme heat, the heat indices were almost up to 110 in certain parts of our county. I don't think we in this backyard got that high, but it sure felt like it. But this week, these flowers all just popped. They were little buds, and you can still see some of the buds right there, small little flowers just starting. But they all really opened up this week, and it'll just get more and more beautiful as the season goes on. It's hard to believe this was pruned and had nothing on it just a few short months ago. Here's some of the flower buds that just are starting out. Such a pretty lime green color. And here you see the flowers opening from the bottom. Still need to open up at the top. Now, just as I mentioned in the case of the butterfly bush, you see here on the Limelight tree a yellow leaf, and you might see one or two throughout. Again, that's from a lot of water. So if you see that, don't panic and think you need to water. It's a sign showing you that it's got a little bit too much water. If it needs water, you might see some browning on the edges of the leaves. So just keep an eye on it. You'll get to know your tree very well after having it a season or two, so no worries. Look at all these at the top just opening. There's some blue sky. Boy, that's nice to see. Just starting is the Lavender Chiffon Rose of Sharon. And yeah, you see some ants on here. You know why? Ants love aphids. Aphids love Rose of Sharon. So that's a good indicator that I probably need to come out here early in the morning and spray some neem oil here to combat the aphids. Yeah, I timed that. Isn't it much better to see a bee in your Rose of Sharon flowers than ants? Look at this guy go. That is just neat. See if I can stay on him. Early bee gets the pollen, right? Good for you. Oh, look at all that pollen on you. Oh, you're gonna get drunk on pollen. You're gonna have to rest right in that little flower, aren't you? Oh, okay. I'll let you be. I'll let you be, bee. So yeah, this is not nearly full with blooms yet. It's just starting. Now down from the Rose of Sharon is the newest hydrangea, and this is a pufferfish. And this is just starting. Planted this last fall. So this is literally its first season in the garden. And you just see a couple flowers just starting to come out. I mean, really just starting. So this is going to be beautiful to see this summer. And I'll definitely be showing you this in upcoming videos as it develops. One thing I do want to show you is you can see, like I mentioned about the yellow leaves, you see right here, this little brown tip? That is showing you that it might need a little bit of water. So that's what you'll see when they're a little exhausted from the heat. And it's inevitable, so don't cry if you see one or two of those. Also in full bloom right now are the little quickfire hydrangeas. These are one of the earliest blooming Panicle hydrangeas. So it's really nice to have a mix in your garden, if you can. If you can't, that's okay too. But it's a matter of when you want to see the blooms. So for some, like Pinky Winky, it's going to be more, you know, they're just starting right now, and it's mid-July. This starts much earlier, and as you can see right now, it's in full bloom. And absolutely beautiful. That white is exquisite, isn't it? Wow. And you can see that see where that little, whatever that bug is, he was just on what's known as the fertile flowers, which are these little guys right there. And as they open, they almost look like little stars. But that's actually what's fertile on this plant. These beautiful, larger flowers, little florets as they're called, those are infertile or sterile. So those actually aren't going to produce anything for pollinators. However, what they do is they draw the pollinators in. See, from a distance you're like, ooh, what's that? And then you come in for a landing and you see the good stuff right there. Nature's pretty wild. So I have 4 of these. I also have a lot of work to do in this garden. I need to fill this garden up more. But that's another topic for another day. But you see this guy, he's the shortest one, and he's just, I came out and measured. He's, I believe, 1.5 feet tall. I'm going to put what it is on the screen because I did measure these. Again, beautiful flowers, and you see the Candy Love Hellebores in the background. In the summer, they just provide a beautiful evergreen in the garden after they did their show from basically all winter into spring. And now it's the little quickfire's turn. I mean, this is their time to shine. And they're very happy here. They got a little bit of shade from the Limelight hydrangea tree, but they get enough sun, and they just do wonderfully well. They had a little bit of a hard time I'd say the first 2 seasons they were in the ground. But now I don't worry about them. Fertilize them in the spring after I prune them, and that's it. Just make sure they get enough water. This bed is on sprinklers, so they definitely get enough water. So pretty. And in front of them are the Amsonia storm clouds. I have 2 of those. And again, those will provide some nice green summer color because their flowers were in the spring. So it's nice to have flowers blooming at different times in your garden, just to always kind of keep it interesting. And then these, of course, are Hellebores as well, next to a Mediterranean pink heath. Now these are the flowers of the red yucca or false yucca, and they're already putting on seed pods. And that's what the seed pods look like. And this is way early in the season for the seed pods. Usually I don't get these till August, so I don't know. Some plants are early, some plants are blooming normally, and some are delayed. Mother Nature again. She's always keeping it interesting, right? Hummingbirds absolutely adore these flowers. They're out here several times a day. See how they have a little trumpet? They can stick their beaks right in there and get at the pollen. Here's another nice vignette. In the distance you see the Limelight hydrangea tree, and to the left is a burning bush I have yet to prune. But right here is the Helene Rose of Sharon, and it is beautiful. You have the white petals with the rose red throat. Sometimes you'll see a little pink on the outer edge of some of the petals, but usually they're basically white. And then you see the buds are a nice pink color. And then you see one that's already done, and the seed head that was left behind is growing. It's like a little seed pod in there. And I will start taking those off when I can, because this was the first year that this Helene Rose of Sharon, supposedly seedless or producing quote-unquote little seed, which is how it was bred, produced, I stopped counting at about 5,000 seeds. My goodness, I had seedlings everywhere. And earlier this spring, I was doing some cleanup, and in a video I said to you, oh, I leave the seed pods on for winter interest because it's so pretty. Guess what I'm not doing anymore? I can't. It's just, it's not worth it. Not for all the aggravation. What I like is how roughly they look as they're opening and closing. That's really pretty. And you see it again here. It almost looks like someone carefully rolled this up so they wouldn't wrinkle the fabric. That's what it looks like. Really pretty. And then down here you get more of the ruffled look again. And just to the side of the Rose of Sharon is this new drought tolerant bed. And it's doing fabulously well. Here's a video to show you how we put this bed together. And I'll be giving you an update on this bed in the next video, so stay tuned. And in the meantime, happy gardening.